Good morning, everyone. As the sun rises over the vast Pacific, we're waking up to news of a developing weather story that's capturing the attention of meteorologists and weather enthusiasts alike. Today is August 3rd, 2025, and we're closely monitoring a tropical system in the eastern Pacific Ocean known as Gil. This storm has been on the radar for several days, and its evolution has been both dramatic and instructive. Just yesterday, Gil was classified as a hurricane, packing powerful winds and swirling clouds. Fortunately, it has now weakened to a tropical storm, which is certainly a relief for anyone concerned about its potential impact. The National Hurricane Center continues to monitor Gil's progress around the clock. Their teams are analyzing satellite data, wind speeds, and pressure changes to provide the most accurate updates possible. While Gil's energy is fading, it remains a system worth watching. At this moment, Gil's maximum sustained winds are about 65 miles per hour. That's still strong enough to create rough seas and dangerous conditions for vessels, but it's below the threshold for hurricane status. For a storm to be officially called a hurricane, its sustained winds must reach at least 74 miles per hour. Gil fell just short of that mark after a brief period of intensification. Overnight, Gil did reach hurricane strength for a short time, but shifting ocean temperatures and increased wind shear quickly sapped its power. This rapid weakening is a reminder of how dynamic and unpredictable tropical systems can be. Now, as Gil moves steadily over open water, it continues to lose strength. The storm is far from any major landmass, which is good news for coastal communities. Despite its weakening, Gil remains a large system. Its tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 140 miles from the center, creating a broad area of choppy seas and gusty conditions. This wide wind field means that even ships far from the storm's core need to be cautious. Mariners are advised to keep a close eye on updates and avoid the affected region if possible. Gil's rapid changes in strength and structure highlight just how quickly tropical weather can shift during hurricane season. These storms can intensify or weaken in a matter of hours, making forecasting both challenging and essential. The best news is that Gil is currently far from land and isn't expected to threaten any towns or cities. Its projected path keeps it safely over the open ocean, away from populated areas. We'll continue to track Gil's journey and provide updates as it evolves. For now, it remains a fascinating weather event, one that we can observe safely from a distance, thanks to modern technology and dedicated meteorologists. Stay tuned as we follow Gil's progress across the Pacific, and remember, nature's power is always worth respecting and understanding. So where is Tropical Storm Gil right now? It's in the eastern Pacific Ocean, west of Mexico and Central America. Specifically, Gil is about 1,440 miles, over 2,300 kilometers, west of Mexico's Baja, California Peninsula. That's a huge distance, so there's no risk to coastal communities. Gil is moving west-northwest at about 21 miles per hour, heading even farther from land. It's traveling into cooler waters of the Central Pacific, which will weaken it further. Forecast models agree. Gil will keep moving away from everyone. The Pacific is vast, and most storms here spend their lives over open water, never threatening land. No watches or warnings are in effect, since Gil is so remote. People in Mexico, California, and along the Pacific coast don't need to worry about this storm. Gil is simply too far away to have any impact. Let's see why that distance matters. Gil's distance from land is the most important factor in understanding why it poses no threat to people or property along the coast. The storm is currently situated far out in the Pacific, with hundreds of miles of open water separating it from any populated areas. In fact, Gil is over 1,000 miles from the nearest coastline, which means its powerful winds and heavy rains are only impacting a remote stretch of ocean, far from any cities, towns, or shipping lanes. The storm's projected path takes it west-northwest, steering it even farther away from Mexico, Central America, and the United States. Strong atmospheric currents are guiding Gil out to sea, making it extremely unlikely that it will ever approach land or threaten coastal communities. If the storm were to shift north or east, there might be cause for concern, but all current forecasts show it staying safely offshore. Another key reason Gil is not a threat is that it's moving over cooler ocean waters, which are not favorable for hurricane strength. Hurricanes rely on warm water to maintain their intensity. As Gil travels into these cooler regions, it loses the energy it needs to stay strong, causing its winds to weaken and its structure to break apart. The National Hurricane Center has confirmed that Gil poses no threat to land, and they continue to monitor the storm for any unexpected changes. In fact, Gil is expected to lose its tropical characteristics soon and transition into a post-tropical system, which means it will no longer have the structure or strength of a hurricane. At that stage, it will simply be a remnant low-pressure area, drifting harmlessly over the open ocean, with little to no impact on weather or marine activity. Gil's journey is nearly over, and soon it will be just a memory in the vast Pacific. Next, let's explore how storms like Gil form, grow, and sometimes threaten land, even though this one never will. How does a storm like Gil get its name and power? It starts as a cluster of thunderstorms over warm water. When these storms organize and rotate around a low-pressure center, it becomes a tropical depression. If winds reach 39 miles per hour, it's named. This year, Gil was next on the list. Naming storms helps everyone track them, especially during busy seasons. If the storm stays over warm water and conditions are right, it can intensify. At 74 miles per hour, it becomes a hurricane. Gil briefly reached this, becoming a Category 1. The Saffir-Simpson scale measures hurricane strength, from Category 1 to 5. Rapid intensification can happen in just 24 hours, but storms can weaken just as quickly. Gil's quick rise and fall is a classic example of tropical weather's unpredictability. Now let's see what causes storms to lose power. Hurricanes can't stay strong forever. Even the most powerful storms eventually run out of steam, and their dramatic decline is a fascinating process to watch unfold. Right now, Gil is weakening for a few key reasons, and each one plays a crucial role in the storm's fate. The biggest factor is that it's moving over cooler water, which cuts off its main energy supply. Warm ocean water acts like fuel for hurricanes, so when that warmth disappears, the storm loses its power source. Without that steady stream of heat and moisture, the storm's thunderstorms weaken, the central pressure rises, and the fierce winds begin to drop. The entire system starts to unravel. Another major player is wind shear, those changes in wind speed or direction at different heights in the atmosphere. Wind shear can tear apart a storm's structure, making it much less organized and far less dangerous. When wind shear is strong, it tilts the storm, preventing it from staying vertically stacked. This makes it hard for the storm to maintain its strength, and it quickly starts to fall apart. Sometimes hurricanes weaken when they move over land, where friction and lack of moisture destroy them. But in Gil's case, it's still far from shore, so land isn't a factor this time. As Gil continues to lose strength, it will transition into what's called a post-tropical cyclone. This means it no longer has enough tropical characteristics to be classified as a true tropical storm. Its thunderstorms will fade away, leaving behind a remnant low-pressure area that simply drifts across the open ocean, no longer a threat to land or ships. The National Hurricane Center is closely monitoring Gil, and they expect it to reach this final stage very soon, officially ending its life as a significant storm. This marks the end of Gil's journey as a powerful system, and the ocean will soon return to calm as the last clouds break apart. But Gil isn't alone. Every hurricane season brings a bigger picture, with many storms forming, strengthening, and eventually fading away. Let's take a look at what else is happening this season. 2025 has been a busy year for storms in the Eastern Pacific. Hurricane season here runs from May 15th to November 30th, with the peak in July, August, and September. Warm ocean waters and favorable conditions have led to several storms, including Gil. Forecasters are watching closely, as more storms could develop soon. Sometimes multiple storms are active at once. Right now, there's also Tropical Depression Iona, far west of Hawaii and weakening. An active season doesn't always mean more landfalls, but it does raise the chances. That's why coastal residents should always have a hurricane plan, just in case. Now let's see how experts track and forecast these storms. Tracking storms like Gil is a major scientific effort. Weather satellites are our main tool, providing constant images and data on storm structure and intensity. For storms far from land, satellites are essential for monitoring their life cycle. When storms approach land, hurricane hunter aircraft fly into them to measure wind speeds and pressure. These planes drop instruments called dropsondes, giving us real-time data from inside the storm. All this information feeds into supercomputers that run weather forecast models. Forecasters at the National Hurricane Center use these models and their expertise to create official forecasts. Track forecasts are now very accurate, often predicting a storm's path 5 days out. Intensity forecasts are improving, but remain challenging. This blend of technology and human skill lets us confidently say, Gil is not a threat. It's a testament to how far storm science has come. Let's talk about staying prepared during hurricane season. Even though Gil isn't a danger, it's a reminder that hurricane season is active. New storms can form quickly, so staying aware is crucial. Get updates from trusted sources like the National Hurricane Center and local meteorologists. If you live near the coast, review your hurricane plan and make sure your emergency kit is ready. Forecasters issue regular tropical weather outlooks, highlighting areas where storms might develop. Most storms stay over open water, but some do make landfall, so vigilance is key. Staying informed and prepared is the best way to protect yourself. In summary, Tropical Storm Gil is far from land and weakening fast. It was briefly a hurricane but now poses no threat to any coastal communities. The storm is losing power over cooler water and will soon become a remnant low. Gil's life cycle is a classic example of how tropical systems behave, forming, strengthening, and fading over the open ocean. This season is busy, so it's important to stay aware and prepared. Know your risk, have a plan, and follow reliable sources for updates. Thanks for joining us to learn about Gil. We'll keep monitoring the tropics and bring you the latest information. Stay safe, stay informed, and be prepared this hurricane season.